Hello, college algebra students. Today we're going to start section P5 on rational expressions. In the video, we're going to look at the sketches of some rational expressions and some radical expressions, and we're going to talk about their domains. We will discuss the range when we get to class. First, I'd like for you to take out your graphing calculator, go to y equals, and type in number 1. Alpha y equals will give you the fraction if you have the updated operating system. If you don't have the updated operating system, please see me in class so that I can help you with that. If your graph does not look like mine, try pressing Zoom 5 or 6 to get a standard window, and then sketch the picture that you see on your paper. In order to find the domain, we need to look at the denominator of the fraction. Remember, we cannot have 0 in the denominator, so to find the domain, we take the denominator and say that it is not equal to 0. Add the 5 to both sides, so 3x is not equal to 5. Divide by 3, x is not equal to 5/3. The domain is all real numbers except 5/3. The interval notation for that is -infinity, comma 5/3, parenthesis, because we're not including the 5/3, union, parenthesis, 5/3 to positive infinity. So that's everything except 5/3. If it helps you, you might look at it on a number line. Here's the 5/3. We cannot use 5/3, but we can use everything left of it and everything right of it. So remember, your domain is the x values. These are what we're finding here are all the numbers that we can use for x in the function. Okay, number 2, please go back to your calculator, go to y equals, clear out the first problem. Second x squared gives you the radical, and then 5 minus x. Sketch that graph onto your paper. With radicals, we cannot take the square root of a negative number, so that means you need to take the radicand, which is the piece under the radical, and set it greater than or equal to 0. Subtract the 5 from both sides, divide by -1. Don't forget to change the direction of the inequality since we divided by a negative number. And the domain is all real numbers less than or equal to 5. The interval notation for that is -infinity, comma 5 with a square bracket because of the equal to sign. Problem 3. Go to y equals, type in your equation, and graph it. This equation does not have a fraction, it does not have a radical, so that means the domain is all real numbers. You can use anything you want for x. Number 4, sketch the graph. Once again, we have a radical, so we need to take the radicand, just the piece underneath, set it greater than or equal to 0, and this time the domain is x is greater than or equal to 5, and you can see on the graph it starts at 5 and it goes off to positive infinity. Square bracket 5 comma infinity. Number 5, let's graph that one. Once again, we have a fraction, so we need to take the denominator and say that it cannot equal 0. To solve this one, we're going to factor it. Make your two sets of parentheses. X times x is x squared. 6 times 1 is 6. We need negative 6 and negative 1 to get a negative 7 in the middle. X minus 6 can't be 0. X minus 1 can't be 0. So x can't be 6 and x cannot be 1. The interval notation is going to be negative infinity to 1, parenthesis, union, parenthesis, 1 to 6, parenthesis, union, parenthesis, 6 to infinity. We always go smallest to largest from left to right using the intervals. If it helps you to think of it on a number line, here's 1, here's 6. The domain is everything except 1 and 6. So there are open circles at 1 and 6. But you can use everything to the left, everything in the middle, and everything to the right. Last problem, another radical. This time the radicand is 9 minus 2x. We're going to say that that's greater than or equal to 0 because we don't want the square root of a negative number. Subtract 9 from both sides. Divide by negative 2. Don't forget to change the direction of your inequality. And so x is less than or equal to 9 halves. That's going to be negative infinity to 9 halves with a square bracket. And you can see in your picture, 9 halves is 4.5. It's about right there. And all the x values are to the left of that. Once again, we'll do the range together tomorrow in class. Please put a question mark next to anything that didn't make sense, and we'll get those questions answered.